Hey guys, welcome back. I want to do a video dedicated just to this, which is activated charcoal. And the reason for it is I mention it so much, and I put it in so many protocols and stuff that I write out, give, or people ask me about it because I do mention it, but I've just not done a video directed, solely to that. And then there was been some misunderstanding or questioning about it, and it is one of the number one things I think everyone should have in your preps. I mean, in your first aid kits, in your field bags, in your car, in your go bags, in on and on. It needs to be in there. No, this is one I have. Doesn't have to be this one. I am about not getting a bunch of synthetic things aren't added to this. This one is just made from coconut shells. And you can get it like this one. I have several different types, I have on hand. This one is capsules, and they're extremely messy if you open it. So just beware, it will stain everything. They're just capsules, and you can open them up. And you can get them in powder form. So whichever one you want, and get them in some in powder, some in capsules. It's, whatever's easiest for you. But this should be a staple. This should be a staple in your preps, and it should be in it should be in your go bags. It should be in your first aid kit, your field kits, your cars, in your home where you can easily get it. So we'll go over some of that because this can be a lifesaver and in many different things, especially in shift. So I have talked about activated charcoal in many different detoxes and what it's used for, both internally and externally. Now, with that said, always read my disclaimer and check the descriptions for this because I'm going to put some warnings down there with that because, you always have to be safe, be smart, use common sense about things. So I talk about this a detox for many different things depending on, what you're treating. So everything's going to be a little bit different depending on what you're treating. And then the biggest thing you think about charcoal is you think about some sort of poisoning. So let's do internal first, is whether it's accidental or an OD or something like that, you want to get that activated charcoal in within an hour. Of course, the sooner the better because it will absorb everything. It will bind it, it will absorb it, and it will remove it from someone's body. When I used to work in the ER, we'd have people come in, they had OD'd or ingested poison. We would give them, they do the charcoal forcefully or voluntarily. They would get it in because it will neutralize, it will absorb and bind that and remove that from the body. I've had people I've done protocols for, and they would have mercury fillings in their teeth. And there was a gentleman some years ago, and he had a cracked. He had like a filling that was leaking. I'll say that. And that can happen, if you have mercury fillings, listen up or get them removed and replaced if you're able to do that, because over time they will leach out. So this is something else. Like I said, someone's had it, and I've heard of stories where people had like a mercury filling, it came loose, they swallowed it, and they will have issues, and you want to take that, you want to neutralize that, and help yourself out because you'll know it has a lot of side effects, and sometimes people will have them and they're having kind of that slow leak issue and they're having symptoms and they don't even know it's tied to that. So that's one. And even if you've had some serious dental work, maybe you go and have your fillings removed. Afterwards, I would do a round of that to help you out. Be extra cautious and do that. So, as far as like the OD, the poisoning stuff, if you ingest it, and that goes along for food poisoning as well. Food poisoning could just really knock you down. And a lot of people get hospitalized from that. Same thing is if you ingest something, if you're having vomiting, diarrhea, some type of food poisoning as well, you take that, it's going to help bind that up. And the thing is people need to understand when you take this, you got to take it for a situation. Any of these above I've talked about. This is going to turn your stools. It's going to be that black tarry look. Now, if you have an issue with like stomach bleeds and you have to look for that to make sure you're not having some type of, peptic, bleed or something like that, you know the difference. So you're taking the proper precautions or whatever. But that will happen. And usually once you see that, even like young children or different things like that, they get sick, very small amounts you'd give them. And then once you see that that change, that color change, and so you know that they're going to get better because it's absorbed. It's absorbing and binding that. Same thing with adults. So you need to have that. Bites, stings of any sort. That was one of the ones, if you have not seen when I had gotten bit by that copperhead, that was one of my very first go-to grabs. It was right there. I made a concoction, but it was. I mean, I washed it, started pouring silver on it, and I made sure I mixed up my paste immediately with the charcoal, and you can feel that drawing up. Same thing. I had brown recluse, different bites, different stings. That will help neutralize it and draw things out. Now, with that said, be smart. If you need to seek emergency medical attention, do so. Okay, let's be safe and do things like you have to. But any of these things I've already talked about could happen. You're way away from out in the field somewhere in the woods in the middle of shift, unable to get there. You need that on hand, because that could even be your go-to in between. Like, I need to get this on board now until I can get medical attention that I need. But it's just extremely important that it's just a very important prep. And like, even if you have something topically, or an infection or a sting or bite, something I was talking about, you make a paste. Like this one, when I had this one, this was the grab one because it was right there in my kitchen. I grabbed it, opened up the capsules, takes tiny drops of water to make a paste out of that, and you get that on there. A lot of times you put that on there and you cover it with a bandage, cover it with saran wrap, whatever the situation is. With mine, I had to change it every 20 minutes, and then I kept bumping that out, and that was just my situation when I had gotten that snake bite. Different things, and you may not, depending if it's something more not as severe and serious as that, you may not have to only do it but one time. I mean, I've kept those in the car and put it on, and a lot of times I will mix baking soda with my powdered activated charcoal to do as a paste. I've done that plenty. I've done that for different spider bites and even on my kiddos or different things, but it can be life-saving. And I just think it's a must. And I can't stress that one enough. I have certain ones I'm like, this better be a staple for you to have. If you're in shift and you ingest something, foraging, did something dangerous, ate something not supposed to, got a hold of something bad, whatever, take it immediately, as quickly as It's usually about within an hour, especially when you think about somebody ODing, or if it's like a drug ingested type thing. Now again, medical attention, calm down, YouTube. You know how it goes. But also with the charcoal, I've said this before in one of my other videos, is you have to remember that because it absorbs all of those things, it also will absorb like so many of your minerals and everything that you need in your body, because it works so well. It absorbs all of that so well. This is not an every day, this is part of my vitamin regimen or anything like that, or you take this long term. That is not what this is. This is for acute situations that you need to get a hold of really quick, neutralize something, and I'm talking about internally on that aspect, because it'll deplete you of everything else as well. So you have to be careful, that balance, that safety. This isn't a long term anything ever. You don't do that. So, that's something I want to share with you. Read the warnings, but I've had people ask again about the activated charcoal. How does that work? And make sure you buy like you're supposed to. You would think it'd be common sense, but yes, I've had people ask me, can they just use charcoal, grilled charcoal? No, you absolutely cannot. Do not do that. I may do a video at some point on how you can make your own activated charcoal safely, over your fire pit, and how you do that. But until then, and why you can still get it, I'll just grab it. Grab several different types, several different sizes, or get a large bottle. And I've even done this before, and I put them in little they're like smaller Ziploc bags. You can put a oxygen absorber in there, or you can do like how you vacuum seal them, or just put them in little smaller containers if you want to divide it up, if you buy it more in bulk. But just get it in your go bags, first aid, in your car, in your house, so you can you have it on hand. So I want to share it with you guys because I get asked a lot. So make sure you read the description for the warnings. Everyone stay well, God bless, and I will see you next time.